It's been a long time since I was at school. And I was thinking about this morning. I was thinking when I went to school in the old days, back in the early 70s, my mum used to brush my hair, check my hands, make sure they were clean. I had to make sure my shoes were all polished. There was a sort of sense of pride about going to school. I don't know if there is a sense of pride now when you see a lot of the school kids shuffling along to school in their blazers. They all seem a little bit dishevelled, ties if they're wearing them over one way, bags dragging along the streets. This isn't a complaint, of course, it's just an observation, just an opinion. But actually, when I look around at all sorts of places, I just wonder, have we sort of lost our standards a bit? When I was a kid, there were role models. I remember there was this chap, Chris Bonington, you may remember, he climbed mountains. You sort of felt that people did things, adventurous things, and it made me want to be an adventurer or a positive person. It made me feel good about myself. Now when I look at what children and young adults look at, there doesn't seem to be those sort of role models. It's almost as if our morals have really slipped down into the gutter. There's the sexualisation of children going on. You see these men dressed up as women doing story time at school, and you think, what's that all about? That was never a thing. That must be very confusing for children. And I know that there's a growing amount of people, parents, who are taking their kids out of school at the moment because they're not very happy with the way that the schools are run. But it's not just schools, it's society in general. It does seem to me as if things are slowly, going down the pan. I mean, look at architecture, for example. I always think that's a measure of what your community is like. Architecture should inspire you. There should be an aesthetic to it, not just utilitarian boxes in which people either go to work in or they live in. Just seems very soul-destroying if you're not inspired by the environment. Think of the old Victorians. Even a water pumping station had beautiful pillars with wonderful gold and silver embossed images on it. There was a sense of pride. If you think of the old railways in which people wore very lovely, might be slightly too warm, woolen uniforms with caps and whistles and polished shoes. You don't really see that. Even the costumes that they wear or the uniforms they wear are sort of these cheap nylon sort of hanging around there. It just makes you wonder what's happened to society. Litter is just strewn across the street. Nobody picks it up. They just step over it as if, somebody else would do that. I've even heard the argument that people say, well, if I pick up the litter, it's putting somebody out of a job, which just seems extremely stupid. People also seem to be quite content to not have any intention in their lives. They sit on a sofa and watch huge, great big televisions and watch other people enjoy lives and have a life, and they'll just loll back and have duvet days where they can't be bothered to get up and do anything, not taking the children out to the park or up onto the downs or in the local woodland or any of that. People don't really go to the library anymore and immerse children in wonderful books and education. It just seems to me that we've lost ourselves. I'm not blaming anybody in particular. I just think that life has become so convenient now where somebody will just come to your door with your meal. We can't even be bothered to cook with proper ingredients and look after our health. We'll just get somebody from somewhere else to cycle food to you. Even a single cup of coffee, they'll order it on an app. It just seems ludicrous when you think about it. Imagine a spaceship floating around the planet, looking down at society and thinking, my goodness, what a lazy bunch they are. They don't have any pride in their country anymore. No one's flying flags and saying, our history was something worth fighting for, something worth keeping, something our traditions and our culture is worth keeping alive. It's almost as if we're ashamed of all of that. We've been made ashamed of it, possibly. I don't know. I mean, I'll be interested in your thoughts in the comments. Have we lost our morals? Have we lost our role models? Are our children going to school with an idea of something that they're going to hold on to and take into the future? Or Are we living in a dumbed down society where the programs in our relaxation are just people in a jungle eating slugs and insects, and then there's the threat that that's what we're going to do in real life? Or they're watching glamorous people who've been sort of glammed up to the nth degree trying to get off with one another on an island in the middle of who knows where. I mean, I seem to remember a life when I was at school, and I left at 15, where I had aspiration. I knew what I wanted to do. I aimed for it. I didn't always get there, of course, but I felt that there was something worth fighting for, something worth striving for, something worth aiming for. It seems at the moment in the society that we're living in that there isn't anything worth aiming for. We have the threat of a nuclear explosion all around us. We've got big corporations gobbling up independent stores, that it makes it very difficult for people to set up a business anymore. Farms are being swallowed up by monoculture. If you wanted to get into growing your own food, now it's all red tape and complications, and you need several £1 million to set up a farm and be back with nature and give people food. What's happened to our society? Why did we get to this point? Have we just lost ourselves? Isn't it time that we did start to think, hang on a minute, we can't go on like this. We don't want to be herded into these 15-minute cities and have digital IDs and become a number in a machine. We're individual people. Where's our respect? Where's our pride? What's happened to us? Surely it's about time now, with all the threats of all this horrible stuff that seems to be coming down, that we do need to get up off our arses and get up and make ourselves known, dress up appropriately, put pride back into our step, have a positive mental attitude, and push back against the state that seems to be wanting to keep us down. Is it just me that feels like this, or do you feel like that too? And what are you going to do about it?